Urban legends are a part of history as much as important moments such as wars, presidential elections, and grandiose achievements, like discovering the smallpox vaccine or landing on the moon. From Bigfoot, to the Hookman, to Bloody Mary, to even the Mothman, urban legends and ghost stories have the capability to not only frighten and entertain us, but also the ability to impart an important piece of wisdom or moral lesson. While most urban legends are simply legends and nothing more, I have recently learned about a particular one that may have some basis in truth. It's a story that had somewhat creepy but yet humble origins, but has evolved into a much larger-than-life tale of madness and murder. The urban legend I speak of is known as the Bunny Man. Now, some of you in the audience are probably thinking, you're joking, right? The Bunny Man? How in the name of all that's holy is something called the Bunny Man scary? Well, listen up, because I'm about to tell you the tale that originates from the state of Virginia. In the forest separating the two small communities of Clifton and Fairfax Station, there was once an insane asylum. Sometime in 1904, the asylum was shut down and all of the patients were in the process of being transported to the nearby Lorton prison when suddenly the transport bus skidded out of control and crashed. In the confusion that followed, all of the patients escaped and wandered off. The authorities were able to act swiftly enough and promptly rounded up the escapees and got them to their intended destination. Except for one, a man named Douglas Griffin. There was an intense manhunt that lasted for weeks, and all the investigation turned up was a bunch of disemboweled and partially eaten rabbits near the Fairfax Station Bridge. Some of them were even hanging from the bridge itself. The manhunt continued, but the searchers could still find no trace of Griffin. Then on Halloween night, the search took a deadly turn. A group of kids had been hanging around the bridge where the gutted rabbits had been found. The next morning, they were discovered hanging from the bridge, disemboweled and partially eaten. Griffin was blamed for the horrific crime but was never apprehended, and according to legend, anyone who wanders around the Bunny Man's bridge on Halloween night will meet the same terrible fate. The Bunny Man story is indeed creepy and brutally vivid, but when local historians and experts start breaking down the details of the story with cold hard facts, it becomes less impressive. First, there's no record of any sort of insane asylum that having ever existed near that particular area. Second, the bus crash likely didn't happen because it was 1904, and while buses did indeed exist, they weren't widely utilized for public transportation yet. Third, Lorton Prison, where the residents of the asylum were to be transported, wouldn't be built until 1916, over a decade after the Bunny Man story supposedly took place. Finally, the escaped mental patient named Douglas Griffin, who would forever be known as the Bunny Man, there's no record that there ever was such a man by that name. Add all these little details up, and it becomes apparent that the Bunny Man urban legend holds no water. But hold on, there's still hope for those who want to believe. Remember when I said in the beginning that the story may have some basis in truth? Well, according to my research and numerous articles written on the subject, there are two incidents that occurred within 10 days of each other in Fairfax that may have been ground zero for the Bunny Man story. The first incident occurred on the night of October 19, 1970. A U.S. Air Force cadet named Robert Bennett and his fiancée had just come back from a local football game to his uncle's house in the area of Fairfax called Burke. They had parked their car in a field across the street from the house on Guinea Road when they took notice of movement near the rear of their vehicle. Suddenly, the front passenger window exploded in a shower of broken glass. Standing close by was an assailant that Bennett would later describe to police as a young man in a white suit with bunny ears on his head. This Bunny Man started screaming at the couple that they were trespassing. Quote,
"You're on private property, and I have your tag number."
Unquote. The terrified couple quickly drove away down the street to get as far away from the assailant as they could. When they finally stopped, they discovered what the attacker had thrown through the car window in the passenger side footwell near the fiancé's feet. A wooden-handled hatchet. Thankfully, neither Bennett nor his fiancée were injured in the attack, and they reported the incident to the police. But unfortunately, there just wasn't enough evidence to launch a thorough investigation, so the case was stopped dead in its tracks. The second incident occurred on the night of October 29, 1970, in the area called Kings Park West on Guinea Road, not far from where Bennett and his fiancée were attacked 10 days earlier. A security guard named Paul Phillips was working the night shift on a housing development that was under construction when he noticed a suspicious individual standing on the porch of one of the houses. Phillips approached the house, and as he got closer, he saw that the individual was a young man in his early 20s who stood about 5 foot 8 inches tall and weighed about 175 pounds. According to Phillips, he was dressed in a gray, black, and white bunny costume and brandishing a long-handled axe. As Phillips attempted to speak to him, this bunny man apparently raised the axe and started chopping away at one of the posts on the porch. And after 8 swings, he lowered the axe, looked straight at Phillips, and said, quote,
"All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out of here, I'm going to bust you on the head."
Unquote. Phillips immediately hurried back to his car to retrieve his gun, but when he looked back towards the house, the bunny man had already run off into the nearby woods. Once again, the police looked into the incident, but the investigation went nowhere. Weeks after these 2 incidents had occurred, there were at least 50 calls made to the Fairfax County Police Department where local residents reported numerous sightings of the axe-wielding bunny man. One man even claimed that the bunny man killed and ate his cat. The episode was covered in at least 4 articles written by the Washington Post. Soon the story spread to nearby Washington, D.C. and other parts of Maryland where alleged bunny man sightings began to pop up as well. As is usually the case with stories, after the bunny man incidents made the rounds, the story had evolved into something much more colorful and over-the-top than anyone could have imagined. Today, the newly renamed Colchester Overpass, also known as the Bunny Man's Bridge, is a top destination for aspiring ghost hunters and dark tourists, especially on Halloween night where the local police have had to start setting up barricades for traffic control in the area. For better or worse, the small community of Clifton and to an extent Fairfax have seemed to have embraced the Bunny Man as part of their local folklore. So what is there to take away from the Bunny Man story? While it's definitely a testament to how much people tend to favor a good story over a true crime, I find myself left with questions, however. Who was the Bunny Man in the 2 real-life attacks that kickstarted the legend? Was it the same person in each attack? Or was it 2 different individuals with the same gimmick working in tandem? Was the second incident perpetrated by a copycat assailant mimicking the first incident? Were the 2 incidents simply pranks that had gone too far? Or were they the actions of a severely disturbed individual? Is the Bunny Man gone for good? Or could he still be out there in the woods surrounding Fairfax, biding his time till he decides to resurface and terrorize the local community once again? While I don't have any answers to these questions, I'm definitely going to avoid walking under any bridges on Halloween night. That's for damn sure. If you liked this video, please show your support by hitting the like button and sharing it with your friends. If you're curious about my future content and want to hear more creepy stories, then please subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you'll be notified when new content is uploaded. Until next time, have a lovely day, stay safe out there, and most importantly,
Stay creepy.